the Shadowless King summons a devastating underwater storm, creating giant tornadoes that whip the sea into a frenzy. Decarobia panics, realizing this beast is like an absolute god in its deep-sea home. Refusing to be swept away, Vikir stabs his blade deep into the seabed to anchor himself and braces for the impact. Decarabia screams in panic, warning Vikir that even with his high durability, taking this attack head-on will kill him, and begs him to retreat. However, Vikir calmly replies that it is already too late. He pours half of his remaining mana into Decarabia, ordering the pendant to quickly make a barrier to block the deadly blow. Calling his master a total lunatic, Decarabia quickly activates a massive red magic shield just as the violent ocean currents slam into them. The powerful underwater vortex crashes violently against the magic shield, threatening to rip everything to pieces. Decarabia cheers as the front of the barrier holds, but his relief is instantly shattered when several sharp slashes suddenly pierce Vikir right through his back. The giant jellyfish glows ominously, but its body suddenly freezes in complete paralysis. Decarabia watches in shock, realizing that the terrifying monster has been completely immobilized. Seeing this, a confident grin spreads across Vikir's face as he mockingly asks the S-rank boss how it likes his counterattack. He reveals that this was his plan all along, using the deadly S-rank poison of Madame Eightlegs. The system shows his Beelzebub gauntlet, confirming that by letting the beast stab him, he successfully infected the ocean overlord with the surface world's most lethal toxin. With the S-rank poison now injected, Vikir unleashes a rapid wave of sword slashes, shredding the giant monster as the deadly toxin begins eating it away from the inside out. Taking advantage of the monster's weakened state, Vikir fires a barrage of aura-infused seeds directly at the giant. The seeds pierce deep into the giant jellyfish, hitting its core with incredible force. Although this seems like the perfect chance to finish it off, Vikir realizes there is a major problem. Even with his legendary Baskerville style, the heavy water pressure severely reduces his strength compared to fighting on dry land. He calculates that if he stays for a long battle to chip away its massive health, he will run out of air and stamina long before the beast dies. To make things worse, the giant jellyfish suddenly starts moving again. Decarabia panics, realizing the toxic shock did not last long and the monster is already waking up. Prioritizing survival, Vikir decides to retreat and swims quickly toward the surface. He reasons that as long as they can escape the dark depths before the beast recovers, they can survive to fight another day. However, the Shadowless King is not going to let them escape so easily. The beast suddenly charges a massive electrical attack, lighting up the dark water with crackling energy. Caught completely off guard by this rapid electrical charge, both Vikir and Decarabia can only watch in shock. A powerful electric shock surges through the water, electrocuting Vikir and easily bypassing his high physical defenses. Decarabia screams his name in panic while Vikir curses his own carelessness, realizing he underestimated the monster by not expecting such a powerful elemental attack. As Vikir floats in the water, one of the rare blood lily seeds he collected on the previous floor slips out, setting his true plan into motion. He recalls explaining his strategy to the triplets back at their camp, detailing exactly what he gathered after defeating the S-rank plant monster. The triplets had gasped in disbelief as Vikir showed them the handful of seeds, realizing he had kept them for a very specific reason. He explained that the plant has a unique biology, noting its gas sacs are naturally filled with a very light, highly flammable gas that makes it float easily. Since that monster grew in a dry, empty wasteland on the previous floor, those gas sacs never had the chance to develop properly. But being surrounded by the deep waters of the Black Sea changes everything, as absorbing this water will cause the seeds to swell into massive floating sacs. Knowing they could not win a long battle at the bottom of the ocean, Vikir pointed out that their main goal had to be dragging the monster out of the water. By planting the seeds directly into the Shadowless King's body during the fight, Vikir planned to make the gas sacs grow inside it and pull the beast up to the surface. Now back in the present, his calculation proves flawless as the planted seeds sprout inside the paralyzed beast, causing massive gas sacs to swell rapidly. Decarabia cheers, realizing Vikir's wild plan actually worked as the immense floating force begins pulling the giant monster upward. Vikir grabs Decarabia tightly and, hitching a ride on the fast-rising seed, calmly notes that it is time for them to return to the surface too. Vikir clings to the seed until he finally breaks through the surface of the stormy Black Sea, gasping for breath. A massive dark shadow looms just beneath the water as the giant ocean overlord is forcefully dragged out of its deep-sea home. Catching his breath, Vikir warns Decarabia that the beast is about to appear, And right on cue, the giant brain-like monster explodes out of the water covered in swollen gas sacs. Seeing the giant beast finally break the surface, Vikir yells for the triplets to get into position and prepare for their single shot at victory. Straining under the heavy weight, the three brothers grip a giant, makeshift wooden spear wrapped in leather, its tip roaring with a bright, oil-fueled fire. Earlier, Vikir had instructed them to carve a large, sturdy spear from dead trees, tie the fuse, and soak the tip in flammable hellhound oil so the fire would stay lit under the heavy rain. They recalled their initial shock upon hearing the plan, sweating as they realized they had to throw it with perfect timing the exact second the monster surfaced. Vikir had warned them to throw the giant flaming spear with all their strength directly into the flammable gas sacs, emphasizing that this would be their only shot to kill the beast. Now, the triplets push their bodies past their physical limits. Bleeding from his nose from the extreme strain, one brother grunts that throwing this spear is nothing compared to their harsh Baskerville training. Remembering how their master easily threw a massive boulder with barely a fraction of his power, he is determined to carry out Vikir's command perfectly. Pumping their muscles to the absolute limit, the three brothers scream in unison as they put every ounce of their remaining strength into the throw. They hurl the giant flaming spear high into the stormy sky, and the massive weapon arcs down with deadly precision, flying straight toward the swollen gas sacs on the giant jellyfish. However, as the spear closes in, one brother panics, shouting that the monster's moving tentacles are about to block the spear before it can hit its target. Anticipating this defense, Vikir leaps out of the water and catches the massive spear mid-air. Grabbing the burning weapon, he channels his dark crimson aura to deliver the final blow. Vikir drives the burning spear downward, effortlessly cutting through the blocking tentacles and plunging it into the flammable gas sacs, causing a massive explosion that instantly vaporizes the giant S-rank monster. From the shore, the battered Baskerville triplets watch the giant explosion in absolute silence, crying with relief and awe as they praise their lord. With a huge column of fire burning behind him, Vikir calmly walks out of the dark waves and onto the sandy shore, victorious once again. Immediately, the system announces that the level 1 warrior Vikir is the first to hunt down the S-rank calamity, the shadowless king of the Black Sea, awarding him a legendary reward for this impossible feat.